Elise ran to the cashier area, and there was already the sound of the cash register printing the bill out.
Miss, the total price is $487,000. I will register the car for you. We will also be giving a free decal and petrol station top-up card.
The salesgirl was extremely excited. She didn't expect to make a sale so soon after starting work here. The commission was not little on a BMW either. She used both hands to return the receipt and card to Elise. And her voice trembled a little.
This is your card and receipt. I will get a temporary license plate for the car first. Then once the registration is settled, I will install the actual license plate for you.
Elise was stunned. She didn't expect the salesgirl to process everything so quickly. And more than that, John's card actually had so much money in it. Nearly $500,000. And it was spent just like that? She had worked so hard for the last 2 years, and there was barely $50,000 in her savings. John was just a homeless guy. Where did he get this much money from? Elise walked over to John, her eyes staring at him like he was a monster. She still couldn't believe it. This car had already been bought by them. It wasn't just her. Even those sales assistants in the corner felt their stomach churn. They were the ones who first spotted John walk in. But they didn't bother attending to them and ended up giving this golden opportunity to a newbie.
He seriously bought it?
The salesgirl couldn't hide her excitement and said,
Yes, he did, and I have seen the symbol on that card before. It's a very special card. And you need to have a minimum amount in your account to get it. Was it 100 million? Or 1 billion? I can't seem to remember.
All the sales assistants within earshot swallowed hard and slapped themselves in their hearts. They have made a really huge loss this time. The salesgirl didn't care about them. The commission from this sale was enough to make her happy for half a year already. She quickly went to get the car and its temporary license ready. On the other side, Elise was pouting. The more she looked at John, the less she understood about him.
How many things are you hiding from me?
Not many. I will tell you in the future.
John shrugged. All he did was to buy a car worth a few $100,000. Did Elise really have to look at him like that?
Hop in and have a feel.
He opened the car door and got Elise to get into the car. As she sat on the soft car seat, Elise felt like she was in a dream. It was so unreal.
Sir, I have processed the temporary license plate already. And will take another 2 days to get the actual plate done, and you can drop by the shop to get it installed. If you need anything, you can call me anytime.
The salesgirl bowed and politely placed her name card on a very conspicuous part of the car.
Can we go?
Yes.
Wait, what about my scooter?
Elise suddenly thought of the scooter that had been her companion for the last 2 years. John didn't bother saying anything and got into the driver's seat, turned on the engine and left. The salesgirl watched them leave while still feeling flushed. This was the first time she'd seen someone this rich. He bought a BMW like buying groceries. Especially that calm and careless look on John's face. It gave off a strange sort of middle-aged man charm, and she was completely mesmerized. The other sales assistants were filled with regret. But there was nothing they could do but blame themselves for being blind. So much for being good at judging people, that was all bullshit. John was driving while Elise sat in the front passenger seat. She couldn't help but stretch out her hands to touch the real leather interior of the car. She looked at the beautiful dashboard and wondered how she was going to explain this to her parents. She rode a scooter out and it somehow turned into a BMW when she came back.
John, you are not an ordinary person, right?
No matter how naive Elise was. She knew no ordinary man on the street would be able to simply spend $500,000 on a car like that.
Why do you have so much money? If you have so much money, then why did you apply to marry into the Dawsons and be laughed at by everyone?
She had 1,001 questions.
You ever heard of Beggar's Sect from those old kung fu novels? My sect is pretty rich.
John answered her carelessly. Elise took a while to react and suddenly realized that John was teasing her.
Can you be serious?
The doctor said my body is weak and I can't take care of myself and will have to rely on a woman to feed and clothe me. So I came looking for you.
Elise gave up asking. She knew this guy wasn't going to tell her the truth. But in these 2 days, John had given her shock after shock, each one bigger than the last. She found it hard to believe what was happening. John was supposed to be a homeless man who married into her family and rely on her family for his daily needs. But why did he have to humble himself like this? Woodshire Estates. Elise and family had lived here for the past 10 years. Since Bill was paralyzed in that car accident, they had moved here. Mary was pushing the wheelchair along and taking a nice walk with Bill. Both of them seemed worried about something and didn't say anything.
"Oh, Mary, you are out for a walk again."
One of the neighboring aunties called out to her from afar.
"I heard Elise got married, and your son-in-law lives with you."
There was something in her tone of voice that made the listener feel uncomfortable. Mary squeezed a smile out, but didn't wish to answer her. Having a man marry into the family was nothing to be proud of. But after merely 2 days, the entire town knew about it. How embarrassing.
Let's go home.
"You are going back already? It's not time to cook yet, why not spend a little more time in the sun? You had a wedding and didn't even give any wedding cake out to the neighbors. What does your son-in-law look like? What sort of qualifications does he have? I bet he is really rich, right?"
Bill's family was also related to that Dawson family. Even if he wasn't as rich as Jerome, surely he couldn't be that worse off. Mary's face started to turn nasty.
"What has that got to do with you?"
"What are you angry about? You found someone to marry into the family, and I can't even ask."
Of course she already knew all about it before asking. Who in this tiny estate didn't know about this huge breaking news? Elise was such a pretty young lady, but they found someone to marry into her family. They'd even heard that he was a homeless person and 10 years older than Elise. What sort of poor taste did this Dawson family have? Why did they choose a man like that? Mary started getting angry and her face was turning red.
"I don't really want to say this, but you are her parents. Yet you didn't help to get a good deal for her. Didn't I introduce a nice boy to Elise that time? He works for the government, has a stable 9-to-5 job. I was so kind to introduce him to you, but you didn't want him and I even got scolded by his family. Are you regretting it now? You too, better chase away that useless son-in-law soon, and I will introduce someone else to you, okay?"
The auntie was still persistent, and even had a gleeful smile on her face. Suddenly a brand new BMW drove through the main gate of the estate and stopped right in front of the auntie. The bright white paint under the sunlight nearly blinded her. Before she could react, Elise and John alighted from the car.
"Mom."
Elise called out. The auntie was stunned.
This is your car?"
Her face was filled with disbelief. She had seen this car before. When one of her relatives got married, they gave this car as part of her dowry, and she heard it was $500,000. She hadn't forgotten that gloating face on her relative's face. Elise looked at John and didn't know how to respond. This car was bought by John, so it wasn't hers.
I bought it for her.
John answered for her. The auntie's face started turning pale. John bought it? He had married into the family. So how could he have so much money?
John bought it. He said I will catch a cold from riding a scooter to work in the morning.
Elise's face was red and said this awkwardly. In that instant, the auntie started to feel jealousy rising in her heart. Because she would catch a cold from riding a scooter to work in the morning? He still didn't need to buy a luxury car worth a few $100,000 either.
This marks the end of Chapter 13. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment any suggestions and other novels you would like to be featured here.